Pastas are always a great choice when you don't know what to do because it's easy, it's cheap, and always tastes good. In this one, we're going to be making a nice tomato-based reduction that's cooked down for a while to bring out the sugars and overall flavour in the tomatoes. We're then going to toss it through some al dente spaghetti, garnish it with some basil, and grate over some Parmesan cheese. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, let's start this off with the prep, and for that here is 3 large freshly peeled cloves of garlic, and with these all we're going to do is thinly slice them, which won't break down their flavour compound, which is called allicin, and this will result in a more mellow flavour. Next is 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of medium to large sized tomatoes that we're going to slice into 3 or 4 even sized slices depending on size, stack 2 slices together, again slicing into thirds or quarters, rotate at 90 degrees and slice once again to create nice even sized diced pieces. Last but not least, here is 15 grams or 0.5 ounces of fresh basil leaves that we're going to stack gently and then hold them nice and tight and thinly slice into thin strips, which in culinary terms is called chiffonade, which means little ribbons. You can also tear it or leave it whole, it's completely up to you and what you prefer, but chiffonading it will allow the basil to be throughout the pasta and not just in clumps in certain areas. Also, before we get cooking, this recipe will be using chipotle and adobo, which is a nice smoky flavour and is easy to get, but it can be substituted with smoked paprika. Now to get this cooking, place a large high-rimmed pan over a medium-high heat, and whilst the pan is still cold, add in 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of olive oil, as well as the thinly sliced garlic, and give this a stir through the oil and heat to the point that the garlic just starts to sizzle, which is going to allow the garlic to infuse into the oil and create a great overall flavour. Once sizzling, let's add in the diced tomatoes, along with 2 teaspoons or 20 grams of chipotle and adobo, or 1.5 teaspoons or 3 grams of smoked paprika as a substitute, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of sugar to balance the acidity from the tomatoes, sea salt flakes to taste, and cracked black pepper, 20 grams worth. With that in, give it all a good mix through, getting everything coated in the garlic infused oil, and saute for 5 minutes, which will start breaking down the tomatoes, releasing their moisture, creating the base of our sauce. Next, pour in 1 cup or 250 milliliters of vegetable stock to increase the depth in the sauce, also preventing the sauce to be dry, and give that all a good mix through. Once all that's in, it's then a good idea to test it for seasoning levels and adjust with salt, pepper, and sugar accordingly, and you can also add in more chipotle and adobo if you like it with a little bit more heat and smokiness, again using smoked paprika as a substitute. Then mix through and bring it to a boil, and with that at a boil, reduce the heat to low and simmer for 1 hour, mixing occasionally. 20 minutes before the sauce is ready, place a saucepan of water over a high heat, generously season with salt and bring it to a boil, add in 500 grams of spaghetti or pasta of your choice, let it sit for 30 seconds, then twist it in and cook for 1 minute less than the packet instructions. Going back to the sauce, which has now been reducing for an hour, add in the chiffonaded torn or whole basil leaves, giving them a good mix through to create a beautiful fresh herbal infusion. Once the pasta is cooked, it can then be transferred straight from the saucepan into the sauce, bringing along some of that pasta water to help it stick, which uses the extracted starch within to do so. Then twist the pasta into it, making sure every last strand is all sauced up, and cook this for 1 minute to finish off the pasta, also giving the sauce enough time to thicken and stick, then remove it from the stovetop. This can then be served into bowls or plates with the recipe serving 4, depending on the size of your portions. Garnish it with more freshly chiffonaded basil to freshen it up, hit it with some cracked black pepper, and for that finishing touch, nothing beats a good helping of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano or Parmesan cheese, with the amount being up to you. With that done, we're then left with this beautiful smoky reduced tomato pasta that's bursting with flavour and of course looks incredible, leaving us with the best part about cooking great food, and that is we can then spiral this up, which I did terribly, but we can then dig in.